Will back again for another spectacular Marvel Plus talk. Will, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I'm getting too old for this. Well, I'm old, but I'm just in this young body, just like Wolverine. Um, anyway, so let's run through what we're going to do today. Of course, this week is the series finale of Ms Marvel Episode 6. We're gonna discuss that, and of course the heavy imitation that I kind of alluded to, especially mentioning Wolverine. And of course we're gonna have the spoiled cast of Thor, Love and Thunder, and we'll get into that crazy film. Anyway, so let's just kind of jump into Ms Marvel. Do you want to do that, Will? Just jump into Ms Marvel.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, sure. So let's just kind of get in your general thoughts. What you thought about Episode 6? Did it deliver or it didn't? Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot stronger than the few episodes before it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, everything that I wasn't, like, crazy about in the episode was really stuff from, like, the previous episodes just being, like, tied together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I thought it was good. I thought it like, wrapped everything up nicely. And yeah, I liked seeing more of Kamala's powers in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah, and it left a few threads to follow up in the future. So yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. Same here. I thought this was a better episode over Episode 5. And I think you and I actually got it right, but they kind of mix it. So, like, Carmen, right? Or Kamon?
Comrade,
was like somewhat the main antagonist. And then we got a little bit of Ms Marvel, like being the superhero with her costume, all jammed into this one spectacular, really action-packed episode. I think this is like the most spectacle episode of the series, and and I felt like it really delivered that. Now, saying that, I think it has flaws, and it has a lot of weird, just like, wow, they actually did it. But it was funny, like it was funny seeing Zoe, the high school, like mean girl or whatever, just randomly came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And then just no like foreshadowing or anything. Just like, oh, we like this character, so she's here now.
Yeah.
And then they did it again with the brother.
Well, at least the brother, it makes sense than her. Like,
like it did make more sense with the brother, but it was still like he appeared. I don't know. Yeah, like the like escape from the school thing was like fun, but none of it made sense.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god! It was so funny. I mean, I love how the brother say, like, I went to the school, so I know how to get in there. I was just laughing so hard with that. I was like, oh my
but
god.
Like, if he could get in without getting caught by damage control, you'd think they'd be able to get out the same way, Which, like, I think that is the way that they got out. Like, they went in the like bathroom window, but I don't understand why they had to like sneak around to get him there. Just go before they show up. Like, go immediately after your brother came and was like, oh, by the way, there's a secret exit.
Yeah. I know. It's so leap logic.
Yeah. It felt very much like, oh no, we need a second act.
Yeah. Oh my god. I just can't believe it. Okay, let's speaking of the brother, I will say I love that we continue with the family aspect, and I actually really love the scene where
Yeah,
Kamala was gonna tell the secret identity, and
and they
he's like,
all they all knew.
yes, and it's
Oh,
like, oh no, really? And then and the mom just and oh my god, that was the most funny scene ever.
yeah,
I fell in love with this episode of that, and it's directly from the comic, which was cool, and it was just fun. Oh my god.
yeah.
And but it was very important that I really appreciate this family really like being supportive of her
Hmm.
superhero.
Yeah,
I I don't think we seen that in like besides was it Martha and Jonathan Kent to Superman, like this was like that, and I
hmm,
really appreciate that.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and getting to the scene with Ms Marvel getting her costume was like, oh, such a beautiful scene. I really
yeah.
love her
Hmm.
mom just like giving it to her, and it it was one of the best like just giving a superhero costume in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just great. Um, I guess we'll kind of uh, I guess get into like damage control. I I I will say I want to get into this because of this thing that we got with Kamala now. I think I feel better with damage control now because I think they're maybe heading to this direction of maybe they will be this like says no like kind of like the mutant,
The anti-mutant
yeah,
task
like
force.
task force, right? Like because the lady whoever that agent was named, like he really
Mm.
had like she reminded me of like the One Division villain, the human one, Hayward.
Yeah,
Like I I I think saying that up with damage control, like it makes more sense now, and I can see like Sentinels being created in this like organization, and then and like we can see Trax or whoever is going to be developer of Sentinels in this MCU. Kind
yeah. I guess I could see that. It still feels weird for it to be damage control of all things. To be
I
like
know,
the new militaristic, uh, like law enforcement agency. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
um, yeah, yeah. It's weird, but I, I mean, it's them. Um, I guess was I let's get into like the big reveal because I don't want to hold up too much of that because there's like two big ones.
hmm,
Um, of course, when was it? I think it was Wednesday when I was waking up and I saw an article for IGN and they brought up the X-Men theme in
hmm,
their articles, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then when I saw the episode, and then of course Bruno saying you have a mutation, and they did the X-Men
hmm,
90s cartoon theme. It was like, oh my god. And yeah, so Kamala, I mean, is our first mutant to see in MCU. I mean,
hmm.
besides Professor X, but I want to get into your thoughts, Will. Are you happy with this reveal? Um, do you now sort of accept the change they did or not? Like, go ahead. What's your thought on this reveal?
I mean, I really like the Inhumans. Um,
Okay. Yeah, I
so
know.
like I like there's a part of me that's just sad that they took that away. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have like strong feelings one way or the other about it.
Okay. Okay. Um, I, I mean, I can understand why. I, I feel like this could have been how she could have been in the comics if we didn't have that stupid rival
Right.
that
Yeah,
you, you know what I mean?
if they weren't really pushing to like get rid of any characters that Marvel Studios didn't have the rights to at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like Kamala could have been a mutant, and
Yeah. The mutants and the Inhumans really are like functionally interchangeable. So it
yes,
does make sense. Um, like it
yeah,
doesn't really matter for her background.
yeah, that's true. I guess I so when that happened, I was like, oh, cool. But then I was like, well, I I predicted last week that she was going to get her powers just like the the Clintons boy, and it didn't. She still had the bangle, which makes sense because of the post credit scene we had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was like, okay, so are we gonna just slowly give her like she's gonna slowly develop her mutant abilities in the next, in the Marvels or whatever we're gonna see her again and after the Marvels? Like I'm kind of curious where they're going with this with her character.
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh, so but yeah, so I think I remember. I don't think I say this. That I thought if they were gonna do something with Kamala with the change of powers, like it made sense. And now seeing what they were doing, well, both her and also the tie-in to the Marvels, I will say I'm a bit more acceptable of the changes they did. And one day I will say that one of the big problems with the MCU is the adaptation of comic book material, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like this show actually handled it better than some of the other MCU properties. Like, let me just get into Iron Man 3. You and I like Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it more what Shane Black was doing with the Mandarin, right? But at the same time, I can see the argument that we were robbed of Iron Man's Joker into this like not like joke. I guess if we
Mm-hmm.
want to review that, and or like something like Age of Ultron with the Natasha and Banner relationship, or Captain Marvel's origin change to like the Infinity Stone of space giving her powers. I think this was the most acceptable change and it made sense in the narrative of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's something Marvel struggles sometimes. And I think this like completely nailed to the ground, or like they nail it right away. And I think it's actually good. Um, no matter if we really like the Inhumans and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and just I think this was an acceptable change from the comics,
Yeah.
because it didn't change the characters. I was very shocked. It was like
Mm-hmm.
the characters came from the comics. It's just they're different from the comics in terms of their like power set and all that. So it was
Mm-hmm.
good. Um, but yeah, so we're still following Bruno, and so let's get into some of the other block points. I was very happy to see I was very happy that we got the aesthetic from the first two, like the first three episodes, back. Having that like cartoon drawing back again, like when Kamala was like forming the plan with the friend and the brother and the school,
Mm-hmm.
and just in general, this movie, this show, this episode had like such a good pace and rhythm that I think was lacking in the first two episodes. I think.
Yes. Yeah. It felt a lot more natural than at the very least episodes 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, there were no like jarring moments where it felt like we were jumping between different like storylines and tones.
Yes.
It felt very cohesive, which was good.
Yeah. And I will say, um, great funny moments. I mean, just like when the damage control evil woman went back to the what was it, their church, their um, secret, not secret, like their church, their own church,
What?
their
Come
own
on.
church. What was it?
Wait. Did she go to the mosque in this episode?
Yeah,
Oh, it's all blurring together now, but it's been a few days.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's this where like everyone put their IDs again.
Right.
Like
Yeah. Yeah, that was
that.
good.
Yeah, that was so. I mean, they know like they've been accused so many times. But, oh,
Yeah, they've
real
been
life.
profiled so much.
Yeah, and I love how they use it as a funny scene, and just like everyone pull out their IDs, and like someone had like cookies, like they had sweets. It was Oh my god, it was so hilarious. I was just, oh man, I just love this. I guess like ambassador that's running that place. Like he's one of my favorite characters in the show. I think he really shines. Like I like his talk with Kamala in episode 2. Here, I like how he tells, you know, common, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it doesn't mean you should be being targeted. You're still our people. You know, like I like his speech towards him, and it's like we'll
Mm-hmm.
help you. You know, no matter what you did. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
No,
I just
I love that character.
yeah. I
Yeah.
just I think he just completely, and I love his TikTok message. Is like, oh, hey, we're gonna party, bring pizzas, and all that, and but it has to be in their culturally uh, matter. And oh my god, that was so funny.
Yeah.
um, oh my god, it was so funny. It was just hilarious. And oh yeah, and then we got Kamala's friend back here. I really like her here, and I love her fake out with the damage control of like, oh, this
Mm-hmm.
is my boyfriend or my parents. Like that was funny. I really dug that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really fun. And then of course Kamala get Bruno and that other boy, and yeah, then they tried. They go to school, and then this is where we get into more the action, and then some of the flaw of the episode. You know, we mentioned so like apparently she always does her TikTok in school,
Mm-hmm.
like after night. I'm like, okay,
There's something about the lighting being better, I think.
yeah, I I don't like okay, and I did appreciate her like helping out, and I think she had a very good like thematic with some of the characters, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just didn't feel earned.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it felt like it came out of nowhere.
yeah, um, I hope she comes back and
Yeah,
we
I'm sure
develop.
she will. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope we develop her more. Yeah, it was just great. But it was I mean I let it go because I was like I was happy we just just did more character moments and
Mm-hmm.
just having fun, which I mean we didn't lose it in the other 2 episodes, but like I really enjoy more of this high school setting than the globe chopping one that we got
Yeah.
in the first 2 episodes, or the last 2 episodes. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, and then we got the like damage control team invading the school, and it was really cool to see everyone using their like minds. And like I just laugh how the damage control gets beaten by kids and then one adult. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I will say the funny moments when Kamala's brother say nothing can stop us, and then the in the back you see other damage control team closing up to them, and then they get arrested.
Yeah.
That was a funny moment. That was so funny. Um, so I think it was pretty cool moment there. And then I think we'll get into like the flaw of the series, and I will say that I appreciate Carmen, Carmen like development in this episode and where we go with it, with him going with the red daggers and all that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I just do feel him and the like side villains that we have in the show was just very disappointing,
Yeah.
and I feel like we needed a very clear antagonist for Kamala to face.
Yeah.
Um, I just feel like and I will say this, him like having like I it's from the comics, but like I feel like having crystal powers, like it was like a light show finale, and I was like, ooh, like some of the CGI was very rough, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've been hearing about the complaint about the VFX team from Hollywood. They've been saying that they've been over work with the Marvel stuff that's been going on
Yes.
Phase 4, and which we're going to get into with Thor and Love and Thunder. But I feel like this wasn't bad as Love and Thunder, but I think it's kind of showing here, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I appreciate that we use Kamala using her powers. Like, I wasn't expecting to see her have these kind of the strike powers, but in cruciforms. It reminded me of Pixels, the mutant character that forms like a astral projection armor in the X-Men comics. It reminded me a lot of that character in the X-Men.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were inspired by that and then like use it for Kamala's powers in this show. So that could be another hint for X-Men. But
Yeah, could be. Yeah. No, I really liked that they still figured out a way to give her the like stretchy body powers, or some of them. I thought it looked good when she was like on her, like, when she was like tall and like made her limbs longer.
Yeah, and
and she said the thing.
Oh yeah, what was it? I know
Embiggen.
Embiggen. I was so happy they did that. I was like, oh my god, that was from the comics, and that was a thing I was going to bring up just now, and then thank you. Oh my god, I was so happy, and I will say I was so happy that we are making her be like a friendly neighborhood hero, and like I really love the scene of the community of Jersey City, like protecting her and all that. Like that was so a wonderful scene.
Yeah,
and just protecting her and just I never. It was one of those like very sincere scenes that I feel like the show did so well. And I guess it's funny that the guy, like, it was funny. There's another funny scene, like the damaged coat guy we saw in No Way Home, like telling her to pull back, and she avoided him, and then she fired him later on. It was this like very incompetent department, I would say, for damage control.
Yeah.
So I guess we got like a quick update from the Incredible Hulk. That Sonic thing we saw in the Incredible Hulk, that was cool to see. Yeah. So and so the finale was there, and then then what else happened towards the end? I will say I will say I was it was something I was kind of curious about, was the name for Ms Marvel, and I really love that they connected to Kamala's name. Like I really love that, and I think that was the most clever way to like give her the name Ms Marvel, because without contrive it in some way. I really like that it was part of her name.
Yeah. Was that from the comics? Because like I'd imagine that would still be true.
No.
That had to, like, if that really is what the name Kamala means, that has to be like a thing that they planned.
Oh, okay. I'm saying the superhero name, Ms Marvel. Like, I like how it's more. In the comics, like how is in the comics is like different. In the comics they didn't do that with Kamala's name. In the comics, of course, Carol was first Ms Marvel, and everyone knows that.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if Kamala does mean Marvel, like if it can be translated as Marvel, then the writers had to have planned that when they were naming her initially.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. I think it could be there. But if they did, I think that was really smart move, because that was something I was kind of curious, because Carol was first started as Captain Marvel in this universe, and so I was kind of like, well, how the heck they're gonna do the Ms Marvel name? And here it just made a lot of more sense for me. And I want to say, it was really great to see the father again. We saw little of him, but I think he was another character I really liked in the show, and I just love his interaction with Ms Marvel in the end of the episode, and it was great to see like great father figures in the show.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of bad ones in the
Yeah.
MCU.
Yeah, there's a
Uh,
lot of those.
yeah, exactly, and I just love that, and it was such a touching moment, and I just love it. It was just he was great. I hope we see more of him in the nearest future, and I think him and the mom is going back in the Marvels.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, yeah. So and yeah, and then we get like oh, the title of this episode is named No Normal. That's the first volume of Miss Marvel. So it was great that they went back to the naming of the title of the comic,
Yeah.
and they recreated the lamp cover
Yeah.
from the comics, and I really dug that. It was
Yeah,
just
me
great.
too.
So but yeah, so that was the end of the episode, and now we'll discuss into the post credit scene. And I wouldn't say uh, what you thought about the post credit scene, Will. Do you like it or not like
Yeah, it was all right.
it?
I don't know. I figured that Captain Marvel would show up like in some capacity at the end.
Yeah,
Um, how it happened was surprising.
yeah. Were you confused at first?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm confused. I'm also just confused from like so in the movie, are they gonna like
Like,
um
search for Kamala?
yeah, or like I hope they aren't like just starting there because that'd be a weird place to start the movie, especially for people that haven't seen Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm just not sure like how that's gonna
yeah.
fit in. But
I I think let me get to your question before let me bring up the confusion I'm mentioning. I It was so funny when that happened. I thought that Kamala shapeshift, and I
mm,
was like, "Oh, they actually did that." And but then I was like, it was weird because the bangle like was shiny, and so I was like, "Okay, what was going on?" And then it just listening to other videos and their like theories, it just leaned more that that was actually Carol in that room. It just the Bengals somehow just switched where Kamala was now to the place where Carol was at,
hmm
and I was like, what? I mean, okay, and just the way because when Carol was in the room, she say no no no, how Kamala say it as well, but then it was just wasn't enough, and I just feel like that was Carol in that scene just bragging, "Oh no, I'm in Earth, and who took her place and whatever she was at, that could be dangerous," you know.
hmm yeah,
So I could see like what movie that did it, like a Deadpool situation where you got like a full sequence of what Carol's been up to, and then maybe the halfway point, I like she found the bangles, which now confirms my theory that we are going to do the Kree bangles or whatever the bangles is.
hmm
Because I remember that there's the other bangle that Kamala's great grandmother hide it from the Celestins, and like
right,
did Kara find that other bangle as well, and then in this movie we're gonna see her finding it, and then it activated it because of Kamala's just had it recently. So
right,
so we probably do like an interconnected storyline within the Marvels to catch up to where we saw in the post credit scene, maybe. So
hmm
we'll see. But I hope it's that than just being very comfy with the film plot.
hmm
So yeah, and then hopefully it ties into the Ten Rings too. So yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed the post credit scene. It was I I think this is the most talked post credit scene we have in a while because I would say the post credit scenes as of late has been very weak. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
except for Shang-Chi, I think that's the only time I really enjoyed the post credit scenes. But yeah, so yeah, well, Love and Thunder had the other best one, I guess. So, but yeah, so let's wrap up the series and um, let me go first. I will say I really enjoyed the show. I think it was very fun. It was one of the most inspirational superhero shows we had so far. I think this is the best since Iron Man having a great lead. I think the actress that played Kamala Khan really like just was so affectionate. She really loved the character, and she was
Mm-hmm.
like, she's one of my favorite stars in the MCU now. And I'm very excited to see her again in the Marvels and see her interaction with Monica and Carol. And I'm just really excited for her future in the MCU. Um, the downside of the show, I will say, look upon it, I think the villains' development and just the overall package of them was very weak. I think
Mm-hmm.
because that like everything was underdeveloped and just never had time to really be interesting and fascinating as some of the other MCU villains we had. So I think that was the weak part of the show. Um, I think it should have been more of just a grounded show, like Spider-Man: Homecoming with one villain, and I think that
Yeah.
could have been a great recipe. Will, go ahead. What's your thoughts for this whole series?
Yeah. No, I agree. I thought the cast, especially like the family and Kamala and Bruno, I thought they were great.
Yeah.
Um, I thought the villains were weak.
Oh yeah.
And I agree that it would have been better to have like a more like grounded, like street level story that was like
Mm-hmm.
fully just set in Jersey City, to get that like Spider-Man feel. Could have made it better.
Yeah.
Lean more into the like family drama of it,
Yeah.
and like give her more time to like do some superhero stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and um,
Um,
yeah, I thought that the like stylistic things from the first episode were really strong. Um,
yes.
and I would have loved if they'd continued that the whole time. So it was
Mm-hmm.
disappointing that they kind of like dropped that like midway through episode two. But
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Yeah.
I just man, the first episode of this show was so good, and then it became kind of mid. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited still to like see more from this character in the future.
Yeah. Um, I also wish. I think hopefully by She-Hulk, I hope She-Hulk can exceed, and because I think the Disney Plus shows need to realize they need to give more episode for these creators. I don't think the 6 episode thing isn't working for them because like episode 4 and 5 really dropped the pace and just
Mm-hmm.
stopped the emotion of the story we were following, and I I, 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 just, I just don't think it worked. I mean, certain shows pull it off fine, but then it just really dragged. And I think we need to put more emphasis of okay, it's fine to have 8 or 10 episodes to use or 9, like She
Mm-hmm.
Hulk is doing, to have more time with the characters. Because like I there were so many characters I wanted to see more than the others. Like I want to see Bruno, the family, like the father more, and so a bit more. If you were gonna put her in the family, the superhero team friends.
Yeah,
So I feel like we need more episodes, and I hope that Disney Plus, like whoever's running Disney and all that, like they need to realize they need to
yeah.
change this up.
Yeah, they either need more episodes or fewer episodes where they just have fewer like plot elements.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
exactly.
right now it feels like they're introducing too many things without having enough screen time to actually explore them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and the movies too. They're doing it as well. Like,
yes.
uh, oh my god, it's just like ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I've been pretty disappointed with Phase 4 so far.
Yeah, yeah, same here. Yeah, I just like Shang-Chi is like what I think Marvel should follow in terms of their
Yes.
format.
Yeah, which is
Just
yeah, it is like probably the most formulaic of the movies that have come out so far, and I know that I often complain about the Marvel formula, but
yeah,
they really like it really is the best one that they've done in Phase
yeah,
4. Um,
yeah, yeah.
it's like that
Besides
and
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
also another like Marvel formula one.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you know, if
It's
it
just, it's
works
just,
and you do it well, it's fine. It's just when you like rely too heavily on the formulaic bits, or I don't know.
yeah,
Like I like when they every time they've like really strayed from the formula, it just they haven't done anything good outside of like
yeah,
being different from the formula is good, but if you aren't doing something that is
yeah,
like different doesn't mean better quality. It just means different. And sometimes like every different thing that they've tried has been worse than the formula.
yeah. I It's quantity over quality right now with Phase
Right,
4.
which
It
sucks.
Yeah, and I I I don't feel that way with the Disney Plus shows, but the movies I do because it's like at least the TV shows they can be more like they can be more creative in each episode and like how to tell their story. Like no matter how weak they are. Like I yes I have my problems with Ms Marvel, but like I actually enjoyed the show, and they had time to develop the characters, and like they fully developed Kamala as a character, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas something like Doctor Strange, like the characters that have the most interesting arc is not Doctor Strange, and that's so not good.